Well, good afternoon. I'm Deputy Chief Michael Woods from the Patrol Operations Subdivision, and wanted to come out and just talk a little bit about the continuing violence that we're seeing in Columbus and the unfortunate homicide rate that we're experiencing. To date, we've had 173 homicides. The homicide unit has worked 174 cases, which have resulted again in 173 homicides across the city. We're seeing those numbers are young, old, individuals involved in crimes, individuals that have been inside their homes. But regardless of the victim, there's a family at home that has lost someone. So we're concerned, and our homicide detectives, along with our assault squad detectives, are working diligently, unprecedented hours trying to get these solved. It's just, it's been a very difficult year for them with the numbers and the frequencies that they're coming in with. So we're doing our best. We'll continue to do our best. We ask for information about any homicide that's occurred recently or throughout the year, or even in the past years, information that can help detectives solve these cases and bring some closure to a family. There may just be one piece of information that we need and that we don't have that can help and bring a case so that we can present it to the prosecutor's office and take that to court. That's what we want, and we know that's what the families want as well. So that's our goal. It's always been to solve these cases, and we're asking, and we need the public's help and to work with us so we can get these cases solved. If you have a few questions, I can hopefully answer a few for you. Lacey.
In your tenured career, you've been a police officer for a long time. Have you ever seen the violence the way it has been in the last 6 months or so?
You know, I was a younger patrol officer when we had our first real high homicide peak back when crack came to Columbus. We saw that, but we've never seen anything quite like this. A lot of multiple homicides, and the frequency, it's almost daily that we're experiencing a shooting or some type of other felonious assault, and then homicides are coming in at that quite high rate as well. So not in my tenure. I've been here 32 years, and this by far is the worst year that we've experienced. The city's experienced too.
On a personal level, when you hear we had two double homicides in a matter of 12 hours, what goes through your mind?
You know, I think first about the families. There are people that loved ones won't be coming home to, but I also think about my officers. I watched body cam footage of officers responding to the stabbing last night, and it was a very difficult scene. It was a difficult scene for them to go to interact with the victims and try and help them out. And so there's a lot of people that are impacted by this rate of homicides and felonious assaults.
So what needs to happen to stop this violence? Because we've stood out here a couple of times. We've talked with you, with other members from the department, with the mayor, and it doesn't seem like anyone has the answer. So how do we put an end to this violence?
You know, I really believe it's a team effort, so to speak. We need parents, we need other relatives, grandparents, people that are role models and parental figures in our young people's lives. But we also need help once a homicide occurs. We want to bring someone to justice for this. We want to file charges. We want to bring them before the court. So, we ask the community to talk to their family members to try and find other ways to deal with a problem. But if a homicide or a shooting or something happens, call us, give us that information, help us solve this case and resolve it. The incident last night. You know, homicide detectives are still working that case right now, so I don't have a lot of information on it. That occurred a little after 5 o'clock this morning, so that's still an active case. Homicide detectives are working that and processing that scene and processing information.
And the double homicide have that lethal extent, any other specific things?
You know, that really looks like that was a shootout between two individuals, and those two individuals ended up shooting each other, and both died from that. But I think that's just one of those situations where they were both younger, and that's a situation where we would hope that a parent or other family figure could step in and you know and stop that from happening in the first place.
You were saying when this happened in the past, you said long ago, drug related or crack related. Is it maybe a drug problem now, and maybe a combination of the pandemic, or do you have anything to correlate why?
You know, I think when we saw, you know, back 20, 30 years ago, there was some information that there was a lot of violence associated with the crack trade. Now we're seeing homicides, all different kinds of things. There's some gang-related information on some of them. There's drug-related. There's domestic. So it's the full gamut of what we're experiencing. And sometimes it's a beef that leads to gunfire instead of a fist fight, and you just don't know what's going to happen once you start shooting at someone. So everything that we're experiencing is across the board. There's not one thing that we can say this is the one area that we could address and have a significant impact on this. I think we're seeing different homicides for different reasons, but at the end, again, it's a family member that's not coming home.
Are you concerned, especially when there's seeming to be a shootout like there was last night, that there may be retaliatory shootings in the days to come?
You know, we're always mindful of that. We have our criminal information unit that follows up on that. We know that retaliatory gunfights and shootings happen, so we try and get out in front of those. You know, I can't explain right now what's emboldened some folks to do things. You know, we're not, because of COVID, we're not taking as many individuals to jail. I don't know if there's a belief that you can get away with things right now. I certainly don't see that from my officers. I see them still taking calls for service. I still see them making arrests. I still see the guns being confiscated off the street. So, you know, our focus has always been trying to get illegal guns off of the street. I think that's a good way to try and help stem this, but we need the court. We need their help with that. When people are brought in on gun charges, that's, in our opinion, a shooting or a homicide that we prevented, and we'd like to see that same level of scrutiny placed on it away from the Division of Police and maybe in the courts, and maybe that's one area that we could have an impact on.
Have you seen quite a few retaliation shootings this year? Do you think that's been an issue, or do you think it's just
I couldn't really speak to that. That's probably more of a homicide question, since they are the ones that really delve into the case and the background on it. I kind of see the front half of it from the patrol aspect when officers are responding to it, and see where they're occurring throughout the city in the different zones. So we look at it from that information, and then where can we increase patrols or just some activity from patrol officers. But the investigative side of it, the Major Crimes Bureau is the lead on all of those.
So we're going to flip the calendar here in a couple of days. Do you suspect that the violence is going to slow down, or do you see it continuing at the rates that we're seeing right now?
You know, my hope is that it'll slow down. I hope that with a new year, we all can make a turn. We can get some cooperation. We can make some arrests. We can have an impact. We can have community leaders come forward and help us talk to our younger people to see if there's a different way to handle this, and give them different avenues of fixing beefs and fixing frustrations. But my hope is that 2021 is a better year for all of us.
Is there any hostility that officers are facing in the community because of what happened with Officer Hill recently?
You know, I can't speak specifically toward the incident involving Mr. Hill, but I can say that we are working hard every day to improve community relations. It's what we want to do. It's what we strive to do. It's what we've been doing my entire time here, and we will continue to do that.
If you could reach out to the average citizen, what would your request of them?
Help us. You know, any crime that we investigate, we need information. We need that critical piece of information, critical piece of evidence that can help resolve a homicide and give us enough that we can take something to court. So help us. That's what my message would be. Thank you.